connecting flights to and from Shanghai tonight. An electrical accident at a Shanghai shopping mall leaves a Russian man in a coma tonight. And Chinese divers train here for a big international competition later this month in Spain. Good evening and welcome to this weekend edition of Shanghai Live, and I'm your host, Zhang Jieying. Big delays are still affecting most flights into and out of Shanghai's two airports tonight, after a thunderstorm last night forced airlines to cancel all domestic flights after 9 p.m. Airport officials say that delayed many of today's flights as a result. Chen Bing has more.
Last night's cancellations left thousands of people stranded at Hongqiao Airport. Hundreds lined up at China Eastern's counter to try to reschedule their flights. Some complained that they had rushed to the airport only to learn that their flights wouldn't leave until midnight, if they were even told that much.
I've had no message from the airline company.
I have no choice but to wait.
Airline officials say that because the weather worsened quickly and affected so many flights last night, their SMS system was unable to send messages to remind passengers. Meanwhile, two men and a woman got into a big fight with Hongqiao Airport staff last night as they waited for a delayed flight to eastern China's Shandong province. Police say the two men will each face 10 days in custody and a 500 yuan fine, while the woman will have to pay a 200 yuan fine. Chen Bing, Shanghai Live.
A 26-year-old Russian man is reported in critical condition in a Shanghai hospital after he and his dog were apparently electrocuted in a pond in front of a downtown shopping mall last night. The dog died. The man had just graduated from a local university. Witnesses say he was probably trying to save his dog that had jumped into the pool that had somehow become electrified. But police haven't confirmed the cause. Doctors say the young man's heart stopped at one point. They revived him but tell ICS he remains in a coma. Police have contacted his parents in Siberia and are helping them apply for emergency travel documents to come to Shanghai as soon as possible. Amid reports that this year is an especially difficult one for university graduates to find jobs, about 60 companies with more than 1,000 job openings held a job fair this morning in Shanghai for graduating seniors. But it turns out that many of the students weren't qualified for the specific jobs being offered. Chen Tingjie explains.
This graduating senior surnamed Chen says he decided to major in English when he began university 4 years ago because he thought he'd be able to use that language in almost all industries. But at today's fair, he found it wasn't of much use.
I noticed that many of the jobs here require construction, engineering, and mechanical backgrounds.
Other arts graduates are facing a similar challenge. The National Statistics Authority's latest survey in Shanghai shows that more than 45% of the students majoring in arts are still unemployed. By comparison, the unemployment rate is a little over 30% for those majoring in science. And most of the job seekers at the fair today were arts majors who didn't have the background that employers want.
We will employ far more science students than arts ones. Some job vacancies for arts students will attract a wider range of applicants, which makes the competition among arts students fiercer.
That same survey indicates that on average, this year's university graduates are expecting a starting salary of 5,000 yuan a month, but arts students are expecting less. Chen Tingjie, Shanghai Live.
The Lotus show that opened a week ago in suburban Jiading district has already attracted more than 70,000 visitors, and the show's highlight, the so-called space lotuses, are just now beginning to blossom. The organizer collected 13 varieties of space lotuses from places like Chongqing and Jiangxi. The plants grew from seeds that traveled into Earth orbit. The seeds were exposed to a space environment that included high-energy particles, zero gravity, and radiation. Scientists say the space lotuses bloom longer and are more brightly colored. than the ones that never left Earth. China's traditional national diving team is now training in Shanghai to prepare for the 2013 FINA World Championships in Barcelona later this month. Reporter Zhang Xing went to a training session at the Oriental Sports Center in Pudong this afternoon.
China is putting up an all-star team for the Barcelona Championships. World and Olympic gold medalists Wu Mingxia, He Zi, Qin Kai, and He Chong are leading the women's and men's squads. The team chose the Oriental Sports Center because the Barcelona event is an outdoor competition, and the athletes say they can better prepare here.
It's so far so good. I think we will work more outdoors. But my partner and I are having more and more understanding of synchronized diving through the training here. I hope that we can do well at the championship.
I'll do what I can at the championships. He Chong and I didn't do well in our earlier training. Today we had a good result, so we are confident about Barcelona.
Wu Mingxia, shipping milk, República Popular de China, 4,0.
In order to help the athletes get a feel for the championship competition, the Shanghai training sessions are using both Chinese and Spanish to introduce the athletes before each event. And hundreds of people watching made it seem more like a real competition.
This is my first time watching diving at a pool. I hope they will perform well in Barcelona and win gold medals for China.
They're performing very well today, but I believe that we'll do even better in Barcelona. We can expect a great result from them.
The Chinese team will be training at the Oriental Sports Center all next week. The 2013 FINA World Championships in Barcelona will run from July 19th to August 4th. 张天上海 Live.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif took part in a Pakistan-China Energy Forum in Pudong this afternoon that included representatives of nearly 50 Chinese energy companies. Sharif said Pakistan has to scale up its power capacity in order to meet the demands of its big population and its future industrial development. He said China's state-owned enterprises and private energy companies that are willing to invest in Pakistan will be well placed to take advantage of the incentives his country is offering. He said solar and wind power companies are especially welcome in Pakistan. Sharif arrived in Shanghai today from Beijing aboard a high-speed train. After a series of rejections, fugitive U.S. intelligence leaker Edward Snowden may be getting a new home. 2 of the more than 20 countries that he has reportedly asked for asylum have said yes. Xu Fangliang has more.
In a speech marking the anniversary of Venezuela's independence, President Nicolas Maduro said he was making the announcement in the name of the dignity of Latin America.
I have decided to offer humanitarian asylum to the young American Edward Snowden in the homeland of Bolivia on Travis, and his Snowden can come and live here, away from the persecution of American imperialism.
At almost the same time, Nicaragua's President Daniel Ortega said his country's embassy in Moscow had received a request from Snowden.
We are an open country. We respect the right of asylum. We are respectful to the right to asylum. And it is clear that if the circumstances permitted, we would gladly receive Snowden here and would grant him asylum here in Nicaragua.
But Ortega didn't say what those circumstances would be. At last report, the 30-year-old former National Security Agency contractor had been stuck in the transit area of a Moscow airport for 14 days. WikiLeaks, which has been helping him, said yesterday that Snowden had applied to 6 more nations for asylum. That brings to more than 20 the number of countries he has asked for protection from U.S. espionage charges. Xu Fangliang, Shanghai Live.
The French government is denying a report in the newspaper Le Monde that the country's external intelligence agency spies on the French public's phone calls, emails, and social media activity in France and abroad. The paper says the activities are similar to what the U.S. National Security Agency does. The newspaper quoted unnamed French intelligence sources who said The French Secret Service runs the program that collects data from phone and internet use in France and stores it in a central database. It says other French intelligence and security agencies and police have access to the data and can tap into freely. The French report follows media allegations that the U.S. government regularly spies on European citizens and embassies. And that's all for today's edition of Shanghai Live. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.